Imagine this: your daughter, your sister, your best friend goes on a trip. And then she vanishes inside a hotel with a history darker than any horror movie. Days later, she's found in a place no one can explain. And the world is left with questions that will never fully be answered. This isn't just a mystery, it's a young woman's life cut short. And if stories like Elisa Lam's remind you that every victim deserves to be remembered, then help keep her voice alive. Like this video, share it, and subscribe. Because together, we refuse to let these stories fade into silence. Los Angeles, 2013. A young woman checks into a hotel with a notorious past. At first, there was nothing unusual, just another traveler exploring the city. But within days, her mysterious disappearance, the release of unsettling surveillance footage, and a discovery that still chills people to the bone turned her into the centerpiece of one of the most baffling modern mysteries. Her name was Elisa Lam, and her story continues to haunt the world a decade later. This is not just the story of a missing person. It is the story of unanswered questions, a cursed building, and a young life that ended far too soon. The Cecil Hotel was no ordinary place to stay. Built in the 1920s as a glamorous, affordable destination for business travelers, the dream quickly turned into something much darker. Over the decades, the hotel developed a reputation as a place where tragedy seemed to collect. Countless suicides occurred within its walls. Murders were reported. It was even home to some of the most infamous killers in American history, including Richard Ramirez, better known as the Night Stalker, who stalked Los Angeles in the 1980s. Another killer, Jack Unterweger, also stayed there while on his spree. To locals, the building was cursed, a magnet for death and despair. Yet to travelers looking for a budget option, like Elisa, it was just another hotel. For others, it was a place where nightmares lived. Elisa Lam was a 21-year-old student from Vancouver, Canada. She had been blogging about her life and her excitement to see the world. In January of 2013, she set out on a solo trip across California, sharing her thoughts along the way in cheerful but sometimes vulnerable online posts. She arrived in Los Angeles on January 26th and checked into the Cecil Hotel. At first, she was assigned to a shared room, but her roommates complained about her odd behavior, and she was eventually moved into a private room. Then, on January 31st, Elisa was last seen alive. When her family didn't hear from her, they grew alarmed. Days passed, and police launched a search. Flyers were posted across the city. But what truly set this case apart from any other missing person case was the video that would soon be released. Her struggles with mental health. If you haven't already, this is a good time to show support for this page. Like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss an upload. On February 13th, investigators released a surveillance video taken from one of the hotel's elevators. What it showed immediately captured worldwide attention. Elisa is seen entering the elevator and pressing multiple buttons at once. She peeks out nervously into the hallway, then steps back inside, hiding in the corner. At times, she seems to gesture strangely, as though she's speaking to someone unseen, or perhaps struggling with something within herself. Her movements are erratic, stepping in and out, waving her arms, pressing more buttons. Eventually, she steps out of the elevator and disappears from view. The doors remain open for an unnaturally long time, fueling even more speculation. The video went viral, sparking millions of theories online. Some believed she was being followed. Others thought she was experiencing a psychotic episode. And some went further, speculating about ghosts, demons, and the possibility that the hotel itself was haunted. 2 weeks after Elisa vanished, the mystery only deepened. Guests at the Cecil Hotel began to complain about low water pressure, strange discoloration in the tap water, and even an unusual taste. Maintenance workers climbed to the roof to inspect the water tanks, and what they found shocked the world. Inside one of the massive tanks floated Elisa Lam's body. She had been missing for 19 days. The discovery raised more questions than it answered. How had she accessed the rooftop in the first place, when doors were locked and alarmed? The tanks themselves were large, sealed, and difficult to climb into. Some insisted that Eliza could not have gotten inside on her own. For many, this was no accident. The autopsy, however, painted a different picture. Toxicology reports found no signs of drugs or alcohol in her system, aside from her prescribed medication for bipolar disorder. The coroner ruled her death an accidental drowning, suggesting that her mental illness may have played a role in her behavior and eventual death. But the ruling did little to calm public suspicion. People asked, why did the elevator malfunction that night? Why did Eliza behave so strangely? Was someone manipulating her? Or did the hotel's disturbing history somehow play a role? Online forums exploded with debate. Some blamed foul play, claiming hotel staff or guests may have been involved. Others pointed to Eliza's own struggles, suggesting she may have suffered a breakdown and climbed into the tank herself. Still, the unanswered details fueled endless theories. Eliza's blog posts reveal a thoughtful, funny. For many, her story is a cautionary tale about the dangers of traveling alone, the stigma of mental illness, and the way mystery can overshadow humanity. And then there's the Cecil Hotel itself, a building that remains a symbol of urban darkness, where history and horror seem to collide. Was Elisa Lam's death truly just an accident? Or is there something the world still isn't being told? Catch more on our next story.